7 officers have been charged with the torture of 2 black men. Can you believe it? What's up, all my fellow lunatics out there? You know who it is. It's Rational Lunatic, back with another wild story for all of my lovely viewers out there. By the way, to all my lovely viewers, how are you all doing today? Hopefully pretty well. And of course, we got another wild story for you. Um, yeah, so 2 sheriff's deputies and 5 other officers have been charged, you heard it correctly, with the torture of 2 black men, which 2 officers have already pled guilty to, and sounds like one got up to about 20 years in prison. Yeah, but before we get started, if you don't know me, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, get to know me, and then get your I can't believe it's not Butterfaces on, because we got another crappy cop situation coming at you right now. This report is brought to you by yours truly from ABC 7 News. 2 former Mississippi officers have been sentenced after pleading guilty to the torture of 2 black men. Rankin County, Mississippi. Former Rankin County, Mississippi sheriff's deputies Hunter Elward and Jeffrey Middleton were sentenced in federal court on Tuesday after pleading guilty along with 5 additional former law enforcement officers to a total of 16 charges related to the January 23rd torture of 2 black men. Edward, who pleaded guilty to the most serious charge in the indictment, discharge of a firearm during a crime of violence, was sentenced to 241 months, or about 20 years, according to the Department of Justice. I hate myself for it, Elward said during the sentencing hearing. According to Jackson ABC affiliate WAPT, I accept my responsibility. I think he's more sorry that he got caught. I don't think a racist ass cop like that can be sorry for any kind of vulgar acts against another race. Middleton was sentenced to 17.5 years or 210 months in prison for his role in the indictment, according to the Department of Justice. The remaining 4 officers who pleaded guilty in this case will be sentenced during hearings on Wednesday and Thursday. Michael Jenkins, who was shot in the mouth by Elward during the indictment, spoke to WAPT on Tuesday afternoon after Elward stood up and apologized to him in court. I'm glad he looked at me. I'm glad he see me, Jenkins said, adding that while he feels sorry for Elward's family, the former officer got what he deserved. Yeah, he did. Eddie Parker, the second victim in the case, told Elward in court on Tuesday that he forgave him for his actions, according to WAPT, and said that he is satisfied with the sentence. Asked about his decision to forgive Elward, Parker said, for what is given and what is done, I forgive that part. But other than that, he still did what he did, and he has to be punished. I always stand up for justice and for what's right, he added. Asked if he also forgives Elward, Jenkins told WAPT, I don't know. No, because if he wouldn't have got caught, he'd still be doing the same thing. And I believe he's absolutely right. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Former former Rankin County Sheriff's deputies Elward Middleton, Christian Dedmont, Brett McCaplin, and Daniel Obdyke, along with Joshua Hartfield, a former Richland police officer, pleaded guilty to 16 federal charges related to the torture and physical abuse of 3 Rankin County men in 2 unrelated incidents, according to a statement released by U.S. Department of Justice on August 3, 2023. The charges include civil rights conspiracy, deprivation of rights under color of law, discharge of a firearm during a crime of violence, conspiracy to obstruct justice, and obstruction of justice. The former officers agreed to sentences ranging from 5 to 30 years as recommended by prosecutors, but the judge is not bound by the agreement, according to the Associated Press. According to the charging documents, the incident on January 24, 2023 took place when a white neighborhood claimed in a complaint to McCaplin, the chief RCSO investigator, that she observed suspicious activity from black men staying at a nearby property. So your basic Karen is what they're saying. Complained to the cops, and the cops took justice above and beyond their own hands. McCaplin asked Dedmon, who was an RCSO investigator at the time, to look into the indictment, and Dedmon proceeded to reach out to a group of shift officers who called themselves the Goon Squad. Oh, that's a real good name for a gang of officers, huh? Because of their willingness to use excessive force and not report it, according to the documents. There you have it, straight from the rat's mouth. During the indictment, the officers beat Jenkins and Parker, sexually assaulted them with a sex toy, and shocked them with tasers for roughly 90 minutes while handcuffed, according to court documents obtained by ABC News. Jenkins was also shot in the mouth by Elward, per the DOJ, Department of Justice. And while Jenkins was bleeding on the floor, instead of providing medical aid, the officers, quote, devised a false cover story to cover up their misconduct and proceed to plant and tamper with evidence to corroborate their story, the Department of Justice said. I mean, that's just sick. Can you imagine? An hour and a half of being beaten, sexually tortured, and then shot in the face? Jesus Christ. And real quick, if this video happens to go past 10 minutes, as all other ones, and you're on TikTok, jump over to YouTube, because after I post on TikTok, I do post all my videos on YouTube, where you can find the full stories there. But let's continue. Quote, the defendants in this case tortured and inflicted unspeakable harm on their victims, egregiously violated the civil rights of citizens who they were supposed to protect, and shamefully betrayed the oath they swore as law enforcement officers. Department of Justice Secretary Attorney General Merrick B. Garland said in a statement on August 3, 2023, the Justice Department will hold accountable officers who abuse the public trust that is essential to public safety. You know, we're hearing this a lot from the Department of Justice and other offices because there's so many stories about these corrupt cops. They keep saying, we'll hold every cop accountable. It's like ever since there's been body cam footage, there's been penalties. The officers admitted that on January 24, 2023, they entered a home where Jenkins and Parker were staying in Braxton, Rankin County, Mississippi, where they handcuffed and arrested the two men, quote, without probable cause to believe they had committed any crime, called them racial slurs, and warned them to stay out of Rankin County, the Department of Justice said in a statement on August 3rd, 2023, announcing the guilty pleas. According to the federal charging documents obtained by ABC News, sentencing maximums range from 3 years in prison for lesser offenses to life in prison for the most serious offense of discharging of a firearm during a crime of violence. The two victims, Jenkins and Parker, spoke out during a press conference Monday morning about the enduring trauma of the experience as their attorneys called on the judge to give the former officers the maximum sentence. I think they all deserve the maximum sentence. I mean, that's just my opinion. Again, let me know what you think in the comments. Quote, I'd like to thank everybody for supporting us and believing in us, said Jenkins, who was shot in the mouth during the incident. It's been very hard for me this past year. I'm just looking forward to justice tomorrow. I hope they do right, hope for the best, and prepare for the worst. Parker, who is set to testify during the sentencing hearings this week, per his attorney, said that it's been a hard year and he's glad that the day of sentencing, which was delayed twice before, has finally come. Everything needs to be done right because everything was done wrong, Parker said. What's done already, man, can't be erased. It can't be taken back. I relive this every day. Malik Shabazz, the leading attorney for Jenkins and Parker, said that his clients have been through a lot of trauma and called on U.S. District Judge Tom Lee to give each of the former officers the maximum sentence. The day of justice has finally come, he said. That's an important day not only in Mississippi, but this is an important day for accountability for police brutality. All throughout America, police officers are watching this sentencing. They're watching to see whether law enforcement in Mississippi and law enforcement in America will be held sufficiently accountable for their acts of torture and brutality, he added. The officers have not responded to ABC News requests for comments. Dedmon, Elward, and Opdyke also pleaded guilty to 3 additional federal felony offenses related to a separate incident that took place on December 4th, 2022, per the Department of Justice. The U.S. Department of Justice launched an investigation into the incident in February 2023, along with the FBI, amid outrage from the community and as attorneys for Jenkins and Parker filed a notice of claim for a $400 million federal lawsuit, and they should completely 100% get that. The Mississippi Bureau of Investigation also investigated the case that led to state charges against the officers. It's in courts and we're fighting, Shabazz told ABC News on Monday when asked about the status of the lawsuit. In an October 2023 response to the complaint obtained by ABC News, the officers denied the allegations alleged in the lawsuit. ABC News' Alexander Malin contributed to this report. And I thank you, Alexander, for your keen reporting and really putting the details out there so I could read them correctly to all of my beautiful viewers. Yeah, this is beyond a wild case. You know, when I said we had a wild story, I hadn't really gone through the entire thing, but I mean, beaten for an hour and a half, tortured with a sex toy, like sexually assaulted with it. I mean, Jesus Christ. And then shot in the face. I mean, being shot in the face alone for doing nothing wrong deserves a maximum penalty and a $400 million lawsuit, I think. But the fact they did all this extra activity to these gentlemen, um, my heart, my sincerity goes out to these gentlemen. Um, I only hope they can get help for what they've been through and work through it, because I know that kind of trauma can leave some severe scars on anybody's psyche. So I really hope these men are able to overcome it. And I mean, at least if they get the $400 million settlement, they'll be able to afford the proper kind of counseling. I mean, even a fraction of that, they'll be much better off. But yeah, I'm as always, some of these cases I have trouble grasping. But we just expose it, we report it, we talk about it, we put it out there, and here we are. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for sticking around. I appreciate and love each and every one of you. Um, I haven't been through something like that, but I've been through my own trauma, and I know it has severely dampened my psyche, and I've been left with a whole host of trauma on this lunatic's mind, as I'm sure many of you guys have. Um, so, just like these gentlemen, if you've been through something like this, or just any kind of trauma at all, please seek help. It's not weak. Um, it's the right thing to do, because it can not only affect you, it can affect the people around you when you have mental issues. Me personally, I have ADHD, severe bipolar disorder. Um, I was also, uh, you know, touched in a bad way when I was a child. So I have my own trauma I have to work through, which has left me with depression and anger problems and all kinds of different things that is all kinds of fun for the family. But anyhow, I'm glad you made it to the end of the video. Um, I really hope you did. If you didn't, you missed out, but you won't know that. So, to the rest of you, thank you so much for sticking around. I love y'all, and until the next time, stay wild.